Okay, so today I'm going to introduce you to the new way of grounding. Now, before I go into the video, I want to show you about 3.5 years ago how I understood grounding. Here's the clip. So, what is grounding? The basic things about grounding is that all you're doing is you're sending the signals that came from your body here, like everything come from our body, and send it to the ground. Wait, hold on. I'm going to turn on the video really high. I'm sorry, the lights. Maybe it'll help me too. There we go. So basically, you are just sending all your energy to the ground. That's it. And by using a bracelet. Okay? For this case, it's a bracelet. You can literally just make anything and stick them into the ground. If you want to go to Home Depot and get a 6-foot rod and stick them to the ground, that would also work as well. There are people who make separate grounding because they're afraid that their electrical grounding would kill them, like a thunder strike, or people live in buildings and they're afraid that other people will use it, blah blah blah. So that would also be another thing too. Okay, so remember that. Okay, so now you saw the clip. During that time of videos of making, no one actually understood what grounding really is. All they was saying was, it is really great, it is really this, it's really that, it is awesome for your health, blah 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 blah. But they didn't really explain to me what was going on. So I was racking my brain about 3.5 years ago, and I actually figured out what was doing. So remember, so those videos, I will link all the video right up here associated with this video, okay? So I made grounding wires and everything, and I was saying to myself, there has to be a way to do wireless grounding. Yes, wireless grounding exists, and yes, I have invented it. I invent it. Okay? And yes, before that though, I want to give the person credit for, and I'll list it on the screen right now. His name is Clint Ober. He was the one that actually discovered grounding. But when I found it, when I discovered it, no one ever explained to me what was really going on. I was actually the one that figured it out. And yes, I have the video up here to prove it. That 3.5 years ago that I knew. I actually knew longer than that before I actually even make the video. And yes, there's other things I invented too. But this video is about wireless grounding. Yes, I have made it. And yes, I have invented wireless grounding. Why? Because I knew that grounding, and I said it clearly in that video, I said that it steals your electrons. That's what it is. And for a long time, I couldn't figure it out. Not a long time, maybe about 6 months into it, I started to realize what I have to do. There has to be a way. And yes, I kept this secret for a while. So, when I made these, that's when I knew that I invented, and this is the first groundless invention in the world. You can ground wirelessly now, and you can walk everywhere with it. You are no longer tied to these. You remember those old videos? Like I said, it's up here. I used to make these. I used to teach people how to make them and ground them as well. Then I realized that there has to be a way. But how? And that's when I figured out what grounding really was or is. So I made it better. And here's why it's better. You can actually make more of these. Okay? And you can actually take more out. Grounding like this only take a certain amount out. That's it. This, it's actually even better. Why? It's because as you're being charged or bombarded, you can take it out right away. So literally, your body is not being attacked. And you can regulate, meaning not a lot of people are affected by EMF, or the world coined as EMF sensitivity, or other illnesses and sickness, blah, 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 blah. Well, when I invented this, I realized that you can actually regulate. Meaning, if you're feeling A-okay, you don't need to wear it, or you don't need to ground. But when you have issues or certain things, you put 1 or 2 in. And I stated in many of my videos, I said, always listen to your body. When you listen to your body, you will know how much you actually will need. For instance, when I go in my car, I need about 4 of them. So I put 4 in. When I go to sleep, now, I no longer need grounding, because I actually invented a smaller version for grounding, just like that, right here. So I wear these. These are the baby versions. I call them the baby versions. Okay? And they are made very simple, 2 form of metals. One is copper. You can see them. One is copper, the light one, the orange one, and one is stainless steel, and that's the white one. Okay? And that's all you really need. And then I have the DIY video up here. I will link it up here. I'm going to make a second one too, and I'm going to link it up here as well. I'm going to show you how to do the baby ones. I am going to show you how to do the regular ones. And then I'm going to show you how to do the magnet ones, which you can hear like this. Why do we need a magnet one? Well, the reason why we need a magnet one is because we no longer need, like, for instance, what if you are exercising? And what if you need to expel all of your electrons, the one that you gain or you have extra, or when you're in like a lot of people around and they have cell phones all over the place, blah, blah, blah. All those signals bombarding your skins or breathing. Remember, there's always 2 things. Breathing and skin, okay? They will attach to those. They will go into your body. How do you get them out fast? Well, this is how you get them out fast. Okay? And I invented that one as well. It acts just like a motor. Okay? I have other versions, which I have them in here. Okay? And yes, I'm making some to give away. So when I make that video to give away, enter it, okay? Because I'm going to give away 2 sets of those. Now, let's get back to here. The reason why we needed to expel this, sort of like when you're exercising or when you're a runner like I am, I run every day, I need to expel some of the stuff out. Because as you run or, you know, exercising, whatever, you are actually creating EMF too. Heat. What is heat? EMF. Okay? So, That's what, and this is pretty much similar to that too. It's the same thing, it's just putting onto here. So it make it look better or prettier or whatever. So I have variations of it, and I'll link the whole playlist up here for you in case you want to go through that and learn how all these things works, blah, 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 all that stuff. But the most importantly is that, yes, this is the first groundless or groundless, we should call it groundless, grounding video, wireless grounding video in the world. Okay, and yes, I am the inventor of it because I understand that, and no one ever taught me what it was during that time when I made that video, which is, I link it up here. They did not even tell me. I was the one that actually figured out why we are grounding, and because of that, I was able to figure out how to remove it and how to actually make wireless grounding. And yes, because of that understanding, now I am able to make a wireless grounding bracelet. Yup, you heard it correctly. And to all the people, and yes, to all the people that wondering if you can ground wirelessly, yes, you can. Yes, you can with this here, right here. Because I invented. I am the one that actually invented wireless grounding. And yes, I share it with the world. And everything is right here. And there's more in my channel too if you want to learn more or if you want to know more about it. And yes, it will bring to you a lot of good health. The whole playlist, you can see what it does with this. Because when you are outside, you aren't able to plug in. You cannot plug in when you're outside. Well, guess what? Now we can. Now it is grounding wirelessly. And now the world going to change. The world going to have to change. Because now we can ground wirelessly. Yes, I have invented. And I'm very proud to be the first person in the world to figure this one out as well. Okay? So if you want to make them, I'll leave everything right here. Follow those videos, and I will make more videos how to make different versions of it too. Even including the baby ones, which that's what I do. I don't have to plug in anymore. I just use these. And that's my sleeping. Okay, when I go to sleep or when I feel, you know, certain things, blah, blah, blah. But this is my sport version. And then these are my regular versions. So instead of that, you can do these. And yes, before I go, many, many times I was like, how can we make groundless or grounding wirelessly? Well, good news to you who sees these videos, and good news to the world that yes, I have invented wireless grounding, and you no longer need this. Well, you can if you want. You can still follow the video up here to make them. But this is a lot more convenient, and you can actually control. And I'll explain all that in all of my videos up here later. Or in here too as well. Okay. Other than that, that's about it on this video. And I will see you in the next video.